The pathetic boss lady spent 5 hours stuck in a broken elevator due to her own idiotic orders. This story takes us back to those ancient times when Blockbuster and Hollywood video rental chains were the main entertainment for the whole family on a Friday night. And mobile phones still seemed like a luxury to most people. That is the 90s. I got a job at a video rental store near my home. It was a small family-owned shop with 3 branches in the city. The job was great. I loved movies and games. The store was close to my home and school. I even got free video rentals and a discount at the nearby sandwich joint. The store itself was located in a beautiful old building from the 1920s. Marble staircases and an incredible antique elevator with a metal cage leading to the warehouse and staff room. This job was perfect for me. Flexible hours, decent pay, but with one downside. My boss. Let's call her Amanda, because that's what her name was. Seriously, to hell with Amanda. Amanda was a middle-aged woman who seemed completely dissatisfied with how her life had turned out. As a result, she took out all her frustration on those around her, especially on young colleagues. If you were a student like me, you got an extra dose of her contempt, like how dare you dream of earning more than $7.50 an hour. Although I'm generally pretty tolerant of such people, Amanda really went out of her way to drive me up the wall. She was spiteful, petty, sneaky, and did everything possible to just be unpleasant. She didn't even bother being polite to customers. The only upside was that she didn't let random weirdos throw tantrums over nothing. I might have tolerated her longer if she were competent or good at her job. But no, Amanda was only kept there because she was the owner's daughter-in-law. She knew nothing about movies, games, gaming consoles, or anything we sold or rented out. When a customer had a question, she passed it off to another employee. Computer issues? Call me. Delivery that needed to be logged into the system? Me again. Items that needed to be moved to the warehouse? You guessed it, me. Any unpleasant task was immediately delegated to me. Meanwhile, she usually holed up in the office, watched TV or chatted on the phone, hogging the store's work line for hours, doing everything she could to avoid working. When I complained about Amanda to Ken, the store owner, he just sighed heavily, grimaced in pain, and asked me to just put up with her and stay out of her way as much as possible. I got the clear impression that Ken wasn't particularly fond of her either, but she was his daughter-in-law. He tried to schedule us so we'd rarely cross paths, but at least once a week I still had to work with that demon. One day I was on the phone with a customer discussing late return fees when Amanda decided she urgently needed to make a call. As a result, she publicly tore into me in front of the entire store. It was a Saturday, and we were packed. She yelled so loudly that the woman on the other end of the line asked if we were being robbed and if she should call the police. Before I could respond, Amanda snatched the phone from my hands and slammed it back onto the base. You never, hear me, never are to be on that phone, got it? Although I desperately wanted to headbutt her, I held back, bit my tongue, took a deep breath, and counted to 10. When that didn't help, I kept counting to 20, then to 50. Instead of wishing for her to be torn apart by rabid wolverines, I just smiled and said, okay. That seemed to infuriate her even more than if I'd lost my temper. She stormed off to the office with a huff, and I went back to serving the stream of customers. Everyone asked if I was okay, and one guy even suggested ways to dispose of a body. The suggestions were solid, but I had plenty of my own fantasies. Though gutting Amanda with rusty paper scissors sounded tempting, it probably wouldn't have helped my life goals. Instead, I just noted the incident in my big book of voodoo curses and waited for the right moment to thank Amanda for her touching gesture. My humiliation in front of half the town. But for my act of malicious compliance, I needed some kind of opportunity, and Amanda didn't let me down. A month passed. I'd worked about 7 hours out of my 9-hour shift, and in all that time I saw Amanda once when she left the store. With only 2 hours left in my shift and not having taken a break yet, I really needed to use the bathroom. I told a colleague I was going to the restroom. However, it seems bathroom breaks didn't fit into Amanda's worldview. She started banging and kicking the bathroom door, demanding I come out. I didn't rush, calmly washed my hands, fixed my hair, and walked out with the most unfazed expression. While she was screeching, I ignored her. I walked past her to the sales floor and grabbed a cart of movies to shelve. She grabbed the front of the cart and knocked off the top stack of movies. Then she informed me about the dubious origins of my parents, said I loved passionately hugging mothers, and that honestly, I had no idea about these things in my life. All this time, I thought I was just a regular college student. I could have probably gotten on TV if I'd known earlier how special I was. Amanda declared that under no circumstances was I allowed to leave the sales floor during my shift. Once again, I summoned an inner calm that would have made Gandhi proud, plastered on a smile and nodded. Okay? On the outside, I looked calm, but inside, I'd made my decision, and I wouldn't miss my chance. Even if it was a tiny chance my moment would come. And that moment came on a lazy, blissful, quiet morning. Since it was morning, it was just me and Amanda in the store. I hoped she'd stay in the office and I wouldn't have to deal with her. When I arrived, there were repairmen working near the elevator. One of them approached me and said they were missing a part and would return tomorrow to finish the job. It was a bit annoying that I'd now have to carry boxes of tapes up the stairs, but it wasn't a big deal. Amanda showed up a couple of hours later and didn't say a word to me. I was at the counter, putting stickers on a batch of new releases, when I noticed the crew heading into the elevator through the back door. After the technician's comment about the missing part, it didn't even occur to me that the elevator had power. With a slight smirk, I thought Amanda would have to climb the hated stairs. She was very lazy after all. But it turned out the elevator did work. Well, at least enough to go half a floor and get stuck. It stopped at a height where you couldn't climb out to the upper floor or jump down to the lower one. I couldn't believe my eyes. Malicious compliance mode activated. I couldn't fully see Amanda as she tried to open the door and get out, but I could hear her perfectly. The sounds of desperation grew louder until I heard the most beautiful sound of my life. Amanda. Hey, you! A slow grin spread across my face like the Grinch. I walked to the edge of the sales floor and shouted, Yes, Amanda? Elevator stuck? Can you open the door from your side? I don't know. I can't see from here. Amanda huffed irritably. Then come over and try to open it. I can't, Amanda. And why the hell can't you? I'm not allowed to leave the sales floor during my shift under any circumstances. Are you kidding me? You said so yourself. I value my job, so I can't disobey orders. A stream of curses poured from the trapped elevator. I'm pretty sure I'm still not supposed to know half of what I heard then. Call maintenance. The number should be in the office. Trying to sound as innocent and sympathetic as possible, barely holding back laughter, I said, I can't do that either. I'd have to leave the sales floor and go to the office. You think you're real funny, huh? I don't know what you mean. Then call Ken. I know you know his number. I'd love to, but I'm not allowed to use the phone, remember? And surprisingly, there was no swearing, no yelling, not even a single word about my parents not being married. Silence. I think for the first time she realized she'd screwed herself over completely. She was trapped in a cage of her own making, and she wasn't getting out anytime soon. Please, get me out of here. Sorry, Amanda, I'm just following orders. And then all her fake politeness vanished. She launched into listing all my imaginary flaws, dragging my parents, friends, and anyone I might have ever known or could ever know into it. And then she sealed her fate by screaming that I was fired. Honestly, I just wanted to let her stew in her own mess for a bit, but now? Fired? Okay, then I'm going home. Oh, by the way, Bill called. Said he's coming at 7 o'clock, not 5 o'clock. He's got to pick up his brother from the airport, so it looks like you'll be stuck there for a while. Hope you've got a book or something. What the hell do you think you're doing, treating me like this? When I get out, I'll kick your ass. Wow, well, good luck with that. I'll leave my badge and shirt at the counter. Wait, hold on, wait. Don't worry. I'll lock up the store on my way out and hang a sign saying we're closed. Hey, wait, that's not what I meant. Come back. I went to the counter, wrote a sign saying the store was closed until 7 p.m. due to unforeseen circumstances. The last thing I heard from Amanda before opening the door was, We don't need to go to the bathroom. Chuckling to myself, I locked the door and drove 45 minutes one way to Ken's to tell him the store was closed. Could I have just gone home, 5 minutes away, and called? Sure. Did I? Nope. Ken looked a bit surprised to see me at his doorstep. Ken, I thought you were working today. I was, but Amanda fired me. She's not allowed to do that. All hiring and firing goes through me. She knows that. Don't worry, I'll call her. It's about time I talked to my son about her. I can't keep her if she's acting like this. I don't think she'll be able to answer your call. Ken looked at me closely and I tried my hardest not to smile. Then I gave up and just grinned widely. Ken, hey? Yeah? What did you do? I didn't do anything. Just followed her orders. Ken leaned in, looking me straight in the eyes. What happened? I told him everything. How she banned me from using the phone under any circumstances. How she ordered me not to leave the sales floor during my shift. And how she ended up stuck in the elevator. You didn't tell her the elevator was broken? I didn't even know it had power. Ken stood there, stunned, and then laughed. I should probably get her out of there. He paused for a minute, looked at his dirt-covered hands and clothes, then back at me. But leaving the flowers half-planted isn't right either, and I need a shower. Don't want to drive looking like this. You know, it's a nice car. Be a pain to clean all that dirt off the seats and mats. Want help with the flowers? Ken nodded seriously and chuckled again. We worked for about another hour until the flowers were planted. Ken said he'd pay me for the full day and sent me home, promising my job was safe and that he'd deal with Amanda. I spent the rest of the half-day wonderfully. Later, Bill told me that when he arrived, the elevator repairman showed up too. In the end, Amanda was stuck in the elevator for about 5 hours. After that day, I only saw her once. She shot daggers at me with her eyes, and I cheerfully waved at her as she carried a bag of her things to her car. Every time I think about it, I can't help but smile. In the end, I was just following her orders.